The 2026 NFL Draft is officially in the books. And coming up on today's show, I'm going to tell you who the players that were on the Giants roster prior to the draft are the biggest winners and the biggest losers. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. We are presented by Prize Picks, and my name is Marshall Green. Let's start the running back position. Honestly, Tyrone Tracy is probably one of the biggest winners of the offseason. All we heard all offseason long was that the New York Giants and John Harbaugh wanted to upgrade the running back room. They wanted to go out and sign Kenneth Walker, an NFL free agency. They offered him a multi-year deal with a lot of guaranteed money as well. And then it was widely talked about, and I can promise you this, that Jeremiah Love was a top 2 player on the big board for the New York Football Giants. And if he was on the clock at number 5 with Arvell Reese, they might have picked him. And if Reese was not there and Love was there, he was 100% going to be the pick. The Giants don't draft Jeremiah Love. They don't draft Kenneth Walker. They don't draft or sign Kenneth Walker. They don't draft any running back. They did add Bankston, a UDFA, whose film is actually pretty dang good. But now Tyrone Tracy is back on this team. He's the running back 2 or potentially RB1. See where Cam Scadaboo is. But he's going to have a big-time role on this team. And he's going to have another year to prove himself to the Giants, but a first opportunity to prove to John Harbaugh that he is more than capable of being a lead back on this team. Giants are going to want to run the football, and Tyrone Tracy is going to get a lot of carries as well. So he's one of my biggest winners. Tyler Nubin, the safety, is another big winner for me as well. There were some players in free agency signed that maybe put some question marks and some clouds and some smoke around the future of Tyler Nubin. But the New York Giants did not draft Caleb Downs. Widely talked about how they were going to draft him. They didn't draft a safety at all in this 2026 NFL draft class. And I think that Tyler Nubin is still your starting safety on this team. Look, I like our Darius Washington. I'll always have love for Jason Pinnock. Campbell is a special teams guy. Nubin is in line to play a lot again this year. And he doesn't have to compete with Caleb Downs, and Caleb Downs isn't going to be the guy pushing him out. So Nubin, with a new defensive coordinator, a straight line to starting, is going to get a lot of snaps, and he could change the way that he is viewed amongst Giants fans, coaches, and personnel members by having a good year right here. I think one of the biggest winners of the offseason, and might be a winner for him and maybe a not-so-good news for the New York Giants and the run defense, is Darius Alexander. I think you could make the case that Alexander is the biggest X factor on the football team this year for Big Blue. They did not go out and pay big money for a defensive tackle in free agency. They didn't draft a defensive tackle in the NFL draft until the 6th round. And they traded Dexter Lawrence. And prior to trading Lawrence, they had a major need at the defensive tackle position. And now you get a guy in Darius Alexander who was a 3rd-round pick last year, top 100 pick overall. He needs to produce, and he needs to have a big year too. Giants went out and signed Lecky Fotu. They went out and signed Shelby Harris. But there are going to be plenty of opportunities for Darius Alexander to play. He doesn't get knocked further down on the depth chart due to these picks or these signings, and he's got to be good. He needs to. You need a 3rd-round pick to pop. That'd be really, really nice. Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, is a draft winner as well. I know the Giants went out and they selected Arvell Reese, and Reese is going to play that weak inside linebacker position, but he is also going to line up on the edge some. I know there's a lot of talk, and the buzz right now is Marshall Arvell Reese is not an edge rusher. No, he's not one right now, but that is where people are projecting him, and he is going to play some there this year. But Kayvon Thibodeau comes out of this a winner, in my opinion. They don't really draft an edge rusher, and they didn't trade him. And maybe he wanted to be traded, but Kayvon Thibodeau is a future Giant. He's here for the season, and if he plays well, maybe he gets a contract extension. Still going to have to battle it out with Burns and Abdul Carter. Chauncey Golson is there as well. Feel confident in the depth that the Giants have at the edge spot. But Kayvon Thibodeau is going to play a lot this year, and I'm expecting him to have a big year 5 for the Giants. Jackson Dart might be the biggest draft winner for the New York Football Giants. I've said it a million times. This offseason, I wanted the Giants to prioritize building this football team around Jackson Dart. And I think that they did that by the picks that they made. We'll talk about that coming up. First, though, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor of today's show, and that is Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use that promo code HMA. Play your first $5 lineup, and you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. All you do is create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you either pick more or less on the stat line that Prize Picks projects for that player. Look, there's playoff basketball every single day. There's baseball as well. They've got season-long lineups as well. Some rookies when it comes to playing football this year. So if you're feeling good about some rookies, you're not feeling good about some rookies and what they are going to do this year, you can put a lineup in. Download the Prize Picks app today. Play $5, get $50 instantly in lineups. You can follow us on Prize Picks as well at @MarshallGreen_. Just make sure to use that promo code HMA. I have Jackson Dart as a winner because of the moves the Giants made. They reinvested in their biggest investment of Jackson Dart. They go out and get him a day one starter at that right guard spot by selecting CeCe Malinois with pick number 10. And then they get an awesome match at receiver in Malachi Fields as they trade up into the third round at selection 74, selecting the 50-50 catch guy, Malachi Fields. Jackson Dart wants to throw the ball down the field. Fields is one of the best in the class at it. You got to have time to throw the ball down the field. Malinois is going to help you do there. So I love the Giants invested in their investment of Jackson Dart with these 2 picks. If you're ready for year 2 of Jackson Dart, hit that thumbs up icon. Year 2 is always a huge year for quarterbacks. You hear about sophomore slumps, but the good quarterbacks, the great quarterbacks, they find a way to level up in year 2. And I'm believing and I'm hoping that Jackson Dart can do that. I'm confident it's going to happen. Hit that thumbs up icon. Let's move to draft losers. And again, none of these players are losers, but with some of the things that happen in the NFL draft, I don't think it bodes well for their future for the Giants. Deonte Banks comes in at number 1 for me on this list. The Giants went out and they signed Greg Newsome in free agency, which made Deonte Banks kind of that third outside corner on this football team. And he was 1 injury away from being a down-in, down-out player. But now with the addition of Colton Hood, Deonte Banks is like outside corner number 4 on this football team. And like a player like that, who's the 4-string outside corner, unless there are multiple injuries in front of you, I'm not so sure how much Deonte Banks is going to play, if at all. And I'll even go as far as to say he's got to make this roster. There's no guarantee that Deonte Banks is going to be on this football team next year. He's got to go out and compete, and he's got to play well to go ahead and do it. So Deonte Banks, due to the pick of Colton Hood, he is someone that I feel like his stock is kind of declining a little bit on the cornerback depth chart. Evan Neal is another draft loser for me. For any player that sign a contract to join this team on a 1-year veteran minimum deal with no guaranteed money, the Giants went and drafted 2 offensive linemen. Guys that could play tackle and guys that could play guard. And I'll give you a 2-for-1. I think Joshua Zudu could be a potential 2026 draft loser for the New York Giants as well. Both of these players have had their opportunities. Both of these players have played football for the Giants. They just haven't played it well enough to keep themselves on this roster. And with the additions of J.C. Davis in round 6, you draft Francis Malinois as well. Like John Harbaugh said it, Davis is going to cross-train at swing tackle and swing guard. Like, they signed Daniel Folele as well. I'm not so sure that Neal or Azudu are going to make this football team for the Giants, and it's a good thing. There's competition on the offensive line. When's the last time we've said that for the Giants? Micah McFadden, a veteran inside linebacker the Giants brought back on a 1-year deal. I think he is a potential loser as well. You could throw in Darius Muasau if you want to, and maybe Muasau is the odd man out, not making this roster, but McFadden goes from a guy that played, every single snap in 2023, played every single snap in 2024, gets hurt in week 1 of 2025, returns to the Giants on a 1-year deal. He's now looking up at Arvell Reese on that depth chart, and they bring in Tremaine Edmonds as well. So it's hard to see where Micah McFadden is just going to get a bunch of snaps this year. There's injuries, things will happen, but if things go right for the Giants, Edmonds and Arvell Reese are on the field almost every single play. And you guys got guys like Jack Kelly as well, who the Giants like. So I like McFadden. I think he's a good player. If he can get back healthy, he could be productive and help this team. But right now, there's roadblocks ahead of him to get onto the football field. Ben Sauls, Better Call Sauls, one of, I think, one of the fan favorites in exiting the 2025 season for the New York Giants. He is a draft loser for me due to the New York Giants making it a priority to go get Dominique Zavada, the UDFA kicker out of Michigan. And Ben Sauls was a prior coach's kicker and maybe the old front office. A lot of new same face in the front office, but I don't know if the same people have the same power. And you've got an official kicker competition. You went out and signed Jason Sanders. You brought back Sauls, and you got Zavada as well. So you got three guys competing for that job, and it's going to be Sauls versus Zavada, in my opinion, to make this practice squad. And I think the New York Giants and John Harbaugh might be more attached to Zavada since they did spend some money on him as a UDFA instead of Ben Sauls, who I actually thought was pretty decent last year. I'm going to include Isaiah Hodgins in the post-draft losers section. And you guys know that I love Isaiah Hodgins, one of my favorite players and one of my favorite people on this team. But like we kind of are talking about with Banks and Neal and McFadden and Sauls, they kind of just drafted a receiver to give you what Isaiah Hodgins has given you. I know Hodgins is more of a big slot and kind of more of a guy that contributes in the 5 to 10 to 15-yard range, and Malachi Fields is the deep threat. But if the Giants can develop Fields over Hodgins, they are going to do it. And we've seen the New York Giants, led by Joe Schoen, cut Hodgins when he wasn't supposed to. And Nabers is going to make this team. Mooney's going to make this team. Darius Slayton is going to make this team. Malachi Fields is going to make this team. That's four guys right there. And then you still have Calvin Austin, Gunnar Olszewski, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt. I just think that he might be squeezed out on the numbers game. So I got Banks, Neal, McFadden, Ben Sauls, and Isaiah Hodgins as people whose stock on the New York Giants may have dropped a little bit after the draft. We'll see the rookies, though, in action here very, very soon. May 8th to the 10th is when rookie minicamp will go down. So about a week from this weekend. OTAs will start up in the middle of May, and they will end in the early part of June. Then veteran minicamp will be here in the following week in June, and then late in July, training camp will be here. The Giants football season is right around the corner. We're going to be breaking it down every step of the way. So make sure you are subscribed, hit that thumbs up icon, and if you're not yet, give me a follow on social media at @MarshallGreen_.